We'll start the episode with Max asking the kids what they think of the food, and Gwen asks what the crunchy bits are. When he tells them dung beetle, she looks visibly ill, but Ben seems to be able to hold it together a bit better. Gwen asks how he could stomach that, and he responds that after alien slop, this isn't too bad, before we hear an alarm start going off in the rust bucket. Max activates a monitor that flips down from the ceiling and looks surprised by what he sees. When the kids ask what's going on, he shows them an image of a stone mask, telling them that it was an artifact that could lead them to the Sword of Ekchuga, one of the most powerful blades in existence. Ben asks, one of? Curious to hear about the others. Max tells them that story goes there are 3 great blades through history that stood above all others. The first was called the Sword of Ekchua, a sword said to be so powerful that whomever wielded it had the power to control the destiny of all mankind. The second was the noble blade Excalibur, a blade entrusted to the most noble of the land, that's hilt was shining golden as the sun with jewels encrusted within, and whose sheath granted immortality so long as they carried it with them. And finally there was the great sword known as Ascalon, said to be sharp enough to slice through anything, and have many strange abilities. Legend has it Ascalon was used by the first knight to carve out the heart of an evil god. The kids look completely caught off guard by what they were just told, and Gwen suggests that they should do whatever they can to keep them out of the wrong hands. And so the trio were now off, using the holo map to pinpoint the location of the mask in question. Rather than having Ben break in, Max instead goes straight for showing his plumber's badge and asking to see the mask. The 3 of them then go inside to get the mask. After picking it up, they hear clanking sounds behind them and turn to see men in knight armor. The one with the golden mask spoke up, stating, "I thought you retired from plumbing, Maxwell." To which Ben and Gwen just look confused, as this is their first encounter with them, with Max responding, "Semi-retired. I'll work a case if it's this important, Enoch." Ben and Gwen question who these guys are, to which Max explains they are the Forever Knights, an organization that believes that Earth should only be for Earthlings, and are hostile towards all outside life forms. Sort of an anti-plumbers. To which Enoch responds, "Dear Maxwell, you wound me. After all, I'm simply keeping the world safe from outside threats." Ben calls these guys jerks, telling them that he has friends that are aliens from off-planet, making Enoch laugh and asking what exactly he'd do about it. To which he responds, "This," before hitting the Omnitrix and changing into Cannonbolt, before grabbing Max and Gwen and rolling into a ball as the knights try to attack, though he simply runs them over and gets the 3 of them out of there. Since they were able to escape with the mask, the battle in the road never happened. Because of this, the rust bucket doesn't get taken out of commission, and so they continue on the road, with Ben having changed back already, handing Gwen the mask, stating the Mayans believed in gods and stuff, maybe someone with magic can get it to work. Gwen says she could give it a try, but she's not that great at magic yet, and so begins messing with the mask as Max was driving. When she'd grabbed it by both sides and held it up to her face, the eyes began to glow and then projected a map. The 3 checked it out and went as far as the rust bucket could take them, with Max placing it in a camo mode, causing it to blend in with its surroundings. The 3 snuck up to the ruins, finding the knights fighting with the door, not being able to get it open. Max tells the kids to check for a secret entrance, and Gwen opts to go right for using the mask again, spotting the stone switch and pressing it, allowing them to get inside. Like in the show, Ben almost falls off the ledge with Max saving him. Looking worried, he sighs in relief once Ben was safe, stating that was close and asking if he's alright. Ben says yeah while checking his watch, seeing it in the red. They then proceed to keep going like they did in the show, with them being grabbed. The difference here, Gwen tries a spell, but it doesn't work because she hadn't practiced it enough, and so they were forced to give up the mask. Then taken to the pit of despair, which Enoch tells them it's said to be bottomless, before shoving Ben in. While falling, Ben hits the watch and it turns green, changing into a strange plant-like creature. Looking confused, he says, "This is new," before trying to figure out what it does, and stabs his roots into the ground as Max and Gwen followed. He stretched his arms out, wrapping them around the two like vines. He starts moving his vines while grabbed into the ground and began climbing up the wall. And Gwen mentions, "This is new. It's like you're some sort of wild growing vine." To which Ben says, "Wild vine. I like it." When the three get to the top, they find that the knights are fighting with a monstrous creature that was wielding a jagged blade of some sort, with a handle that appeared to be the head of a snake, fighting them off as they were trying to get to the sword that was in the pedestal. Ben joins in on the fighting, picking up one of the swords the knights had dropped while letting Gwen and Max go after the sword, and starts to get smacked around for his troubles. He picks one of the seeds off his back and says, "Let's see what these can do." Throwing one at the Guardian, it explodes in their face, unleashing a chemical that caused them to become dazed before Wildvine then slams a stone in their face, knocking them backwards into the pillar and saving Max and Gwen from being stabbed by Enoch. Like in the show, Enoch pulls the blade, only for it to crumple to dust with them trying to get out. But the difference here, Ben hasn't timed out, and so Gwen says they gotta save the Guardian too. This makes 4 that escapes the temple as it fell, presumably crushing Enoch, as the other 2 knights had escaped the moment Wildvine joined the battle. The Guardian then towered over the 3 humans in their presence, growling as the group got into a defensive stance, but then simply puts the blade they were carrying onto the ground in front of Gwen before walking off and vanishing seemingly into thin air.